Most people learn the pelvic tilt once and then do it the same way, in the same position, at the same time every day for months, and wonder why the results plateau. Using it as a consistent daily practice, knowing when to do it, how many times, in which positions, and how to progress it over weeks, is what converts a theoretical exercise into a genuine clinical tool. The pelvic tilt has 3 distinct daily applications, and implementing all 3 together produces results substantially faster than using the exercise in isolation once a day. The first application is the morning activation routine. Perform 10 pelvic tilts lying supine on your bed or floor before you stand up and put vertical load through your spine. In this position, the intervertebral discs are at their peak overnight rehydration, and the neuromuscular system for the deep spinal stabilizers has been in rest mode for hours. 10 correctly performed tilts with deep transverse abdominis activation, coordinated breathing, and the subtle neutral pelvis endpoint reconnects the deep system before the demands of the day ask it to function under load. Morning is also when spinal ligaments are under the highest hydrostatic load from overnight disc rehydration. Gentle activation before vertical loading is a meaningful injury prevention habit. Most people with lower back pain notice that mornings when they complete this routine feel meaningfully better than mornings when they skip it, a reliable signal that the neuromuscular system is coming online as intended before it is needed. The second application is the desk break reset. If you sit for more than 60 to 90 minutes at a stretch during the working day, perform 5 pelvic tilts in your chair every 90 minutes. In sitting, the lumbar spine progressively loses its natural lordosis, and the deep stabilizers progressively reduce their tonic activation as the hours pass. The seated pelvic tilt interrupts this progressive inhibition before it accumulates into the end-of-day back aching that many desk workers in Malaysia normalize as unavoidable. 5 repetitions takes under 30 seconds. Doing it every 90 minutes across an 8-hour day takes 4 minutes total. That is the time investment required for a significant reduction in daily spinal load accumulation. Research in desk worker populations shows that structured micro-break movement programs reduce end-of-day lumbar pain scores by 30 to 40% compared to continuous sitting without movement breaks. The third application is the pre-activity primer. Before any loading activity, a gym session, a run, a walk, or any sustained physical task, perform 5 pelvic tilts in standing to prime the deep stabilizer system before external load is applied. The standing tilt involves finding your neutral lumbar-pelvic position by drawing the lower abdomen inward gently without tilting the pelvis excessively backward or forward, and holding for 3 breaths. Over 4 to 6 weeks of consistent practice, the 3-breath hold becomes less necessary because the activation begins to occur automatically at the start of any loading activity. This automaticity is the goal of all neuromuscular retraining. The pattern becomes habitual and no longer requires conscious attention to execute. The progression from basic to functional pelvic tilt occurs across 6 to 8 weeks of consistent practice. Weeks 1 to 2. 10 morning tilts with finger palpation to verify deep activation, building the neural connection to the transverse abdominis consistently. Weeks 2 to 4. Add the sitting desk reset. Begin performing the tilt in side-lying and seated positions to expand the range of positions in which the activation is available. Training the activation in multiple positions matters because functional movement occurs across all planes and positions, not just lying supine. Walking while maintaining gentle lower abdominal activation is a useful dual task test. It quickly reveals whether the neural pathway is robust or still requires focused attention. Weeks 4 to 6. Add the pre-activity standing tilt. Begin performing the tilt during simple dual tasks to begin the transfer to functional movement context. Patients consistently describe a moment, typically around week 4, where they notice the activation beginning to happen without being consciously prompted. Weeks 6 onwards, a physiotherapist will typically progress from isolated pelvic tilt work to functional loading exercises like the dead bug, bird dog, and loaded compound movements, using the pelvic tilt's deep activation as the foundation for all subsequent loading. At this stage, the pelvic tilt itself recedes as an isolated exercise and becomes the neuromuscular baseline that the patient applies instinctively before any loaded movement. The full exercise progression with guided demonstration is in the link in the description.